Hello, welcome back to Trailer Trash. Today's trailer is She Came to Me.
Hey, Doc. I was thinking tonight could be a good night for sex night, possibly.
Ooh. It's an interesting idea, but, Thursdays.
I do sometimes have fantasies about Anne Hathaway, and they play out exactly like that. Also, hey everybody, it's Peter Dinklage. It's the guy we have to thank for Disney screwing over a bunch of potential dwarf actors getting a role. So, thanks for that, man.
Stephen Lodin, how's the new opera coming along?
Good, great, yes. Great.
We had discussed seeing a first draft of the score in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Is that still all right?
I'm suffering from a temporary blockage at the moment. No, turn it back on. G flat.
Is he all right? He had a total breakdown after his last opera.
I can't do this.
I can't help but feel like, as interesting as it is to have a movie about an opera writer, I feel like, does the opera even exist anymore? Like, I guess in some very niche circles, but it just seems like the weirdest, occupation to have a character in a movie be opera writer. But I guess the joke is, they're pompous and, the opera scene is all, over dramatic, which could work.
You need to take a walk. Jolt your brain out of its little rat pattern. Interact with a stranger. Okay, honey, I have a patient. Bye.
Are we going that way?
I keep imagining you naked. I don't know if you want to hear more details about these images.
No.
For one, I could also relate. But also, go watch Brokeback Mountain. She's topless in it. Just saying.
I bet every one of these people has a story for an opera in them, Levi. What do you do?
I operate a tugboat. In the wrong hands, this tug is a deadly weapon. I'm addicted to romance.
Isn't everybody?
I've been arrested for stalking. I had to go to rehab. And not supposed to be doing this.
Can't believe that actually happened. I mean, she seduced me, right? She's a witch.
You can go to rehab for stalking? I mean, I guess. That's interesting. But she's not supposed to do this? Like, what? Part of her rehab is to not have sex with people? It's a bit extreme.
The demented tugboat captain who lures men to her tugboat and kills them and eats them. I loved it. How did you come up with that?
Okay, that's kind of a fun idea. I also like that Marissa Tomei, it looks homely in this. It's a nice touch.
I was really angry at you. And now it turns out I'm your muse.
You what?
Oh, Steve, I'll never leave you.
I love cleaning. Cleanliness is close to godliness. When my patients are talking, I imagine getting inside their heads with disinfectant and just scrubbing them down.
Your tugboat captain came to see me. I'm in love.
No!
Just admit that I had a magic effect on you.
My imagination came up with the story. My talent wrote the music. I mean, you don't kill men and eat them, do you?
Well, I haven't yet.
This is gonna be one of those trailers where someone edits it and puts different music behind it. It makes it a creepy trailer. I love those. Those are always fun.
You know I can't resist a romantic story, even if I'm not in it.
Well, that looks fun. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I guess it's a romantic comedy. They're really pulling out all the stops and coming up with just the wackiest ideas nowadays, eh? The market had become so saturated. You gotta now make a movie about an opera writer to make anything different. But yeah, it seems like a cool concept. I'm more interested to see how these so-called operas play out. If you actually get to see a decent amount of them, or if it's just kind of like a he writes it and then you hear about it and see bits and pieces here and there, but yeah, oh no, a love triangle. How are they going to get out of this one? I wonder. I mean, three-way. It's a bit of a weird title. She came to me. Like, I guess like a muse, like she came to me. But at first I was like, she came on to me. She came on to me. Like, kind of accusatorily, like Tim Holt leaving the boat and being like, "Ah, she's a witch. She seduced me." It's like she came on to me, Anne Hathaway. I didn't do nothing. And with that, let's check out the comments. Anne Hathaway is so talented when it comes to playing both tragic and comic roles and still being a great actress. Peter Dinklage and her is another excellent comic pair of characters on screen. Well, I mean, the movie's not out yet, right? The movie hasn't come out yet. 2023. Music. Overcome? Well, I thought it was Carmen. What? Must have been another song I was missing. But yeah, the movie's not out yet, so I don't know if we can really say how much they work together as a team, as a duo, until, we see them in a full movie together. I love how Peter Dinklage shines in roles that don't rely on his dwarfism. Yes, it was an integral part of his role on Game of Thrones, but that doesn't limit the roles he accepts. Yeah, but as for every other dwarf, yeah, don't you dare get a part in fucking Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. God, it's bringing back dwarf actors the whole 70 years. Like, it's kind of an asshole when it comes to that sort of thing. I agree. Like, just because you're a dwarf doesn't mean you have to be shoehorned into certain roles. But when the role calls for a dwarf, like, hey, maybe you should cast a dwarf actor. And it's also, you think about it. If you're an actor with dwarfism, like, what better role, like, what more exciting of a role could you try to get than one of the classic Disney, lovable Disney characters, and it's funny, too, because in Snow White and the Huntsman, they basically pulled a Lord of the Rings where the faces, like, the close-ups were actors not with dwarfism, but from a distance they used dwarf actors. And so it's like, yeah, how cool would it be if they actually just had characters with dwarfism playing dwarves? Like, I don't see a problem with that. Like, yeah, they could still get roles like Peter Dinklage does as characters who aren't specifically dwarves. But that doesn't mean that you can't have a movie that specifically calls for, it baffles me. Marissa Tomei is stunning. Finally, an actress who isn't afraid to show us the beauty of aging gracefully. Yeah, that's what I meant when I called her homely. Good to see that such films still are being made. Psychological, complex, surely not a fast food cinema about superheroes, car stunts, or Mickey Mouse. Wait, what? When was the last time Mickey Mouse was in a movie? I actually hope they never try to bring Mickey Mouse into a movie ever again, because they'll fuck it up somehow. Because no one has said it yet, Isabel Leonard, the opera singer, amazing. I love her Dora, Bella, and Cherubino. Wow, I'm so happy people are starting to cast real classical musicians rather than getting people to lip sync or fake play their instruments. Yeah, I agree. That's always something that really bugs me in shows or movies where they'll have like a band playing in the background, and so the music you're hearing is meant to be diegetic, but it's like, oh, I can hear a trumpet in this song, but there isn't a single trumpet in the band, so what the fuck? That kind of shit. Or yeah, when it's really obvious that like what they're playing isn't, I mean, I get it for editing purposes, for filmmaking purposes. You don't necessarily want to have to rely on the band playing well or not messing up, or the music not syncing because you're doing different cuts here and there. Pardon me, gas bubble. But yeah, it's just like, at least be consistent with instrumentation. Like, if you have these certain instruments in the supposed music being played, then show that and not just have some dude on stage with a trombone just going wild when it's like some contemporary electric piano jazz playing. But yeah, I agree with that. That's interesting. The only problem though is, can they act? But I guess if she's an opera singer, like an actual classical opera singer, then yeah, probably to an extent. And I think that's what throws a lot of that stuff off, is where if you have a character who has a big role but also plays an instrument, it's probably better to just have an actor pretend to play that instrument than teach that musician how to act. But that's a good point. I haven't thought about that for a while, but yeah, it's cool to have actual musicians performing the way they would perform in movies. This looks amazing. I love that they cast Peter Dinklage in a role that isn't defined by his condition. He should get more roles like this, where he's just a normal dude with normal dude problems. Yeah, like I was saying before, like, yeah, that shouldn't stop you if you're an actor with dwarfism. At least not if you're Peter Dinklage. It shouldn't stop you. But God forbid you ask him to play a role has dwarfism. But it's like he's done this before. This isn't new. Pixels. Anybody remember Adam Sandler movie Pixels? That character didn't, like, there's the dwarfism aspect wasn't a part of it. There was, oh my God, what was it? It was like a LARP, a movie about a live action role play, but then like actual demons and magic get involved, and he was in it. It was more of an indie film, but the point still stands, where it's like, it's kind of like a awkward thing that he kind of got big because he played a character with dwarfism in Game of Thrones, but no one seems to recall that he had played before many parts that didn't call for dwarfism specifically. But I mean, I just had to rag on him because, again, he's the reason why, one of the reasons why the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs movie is going to be just ridiculous. I still can't understand why. But this isn't a review about that movie. There hasn't been a trailer yet, so I guess we'll get to that point. I'll have to watch what I say, or else YouTube will fucking crucify me. But that was Trailer Trash. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.